Good day and welcome everyone. It is John the Net Guy. It is show 513, fifth season, 13th show of the year. I practiced that like 5 times, didn't skip a beat at all. Glad to be here. It is Tech on Tuesday. I am your tech. We're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff, specifically things that I love, which happens to be this Starlink Mini. It is barely over the size of a sheet of notebook paper, fits easily in any backpack, and it gives you ultimate high-speed internet on the go. I've been using this an absolute ton to great effect. I'm going to go down here and check the chat, make sure everything's working good as people flow in here on a Tuesday night. I see you got a couple people coming in. Thank you so much. This is a completely live show. I'm going to go through 6 products, not 7. There's 7 in the description, but I had a problem with one product, and I'm not going to take you through that experience. If it's not perfect, I have to check in with the brand. I want to make sure I'm demoing it properly. So if I'm a little sweaty, it's because I was running up and down trying to get this thing working before the show. But thank you guys all for checking in. A couple more people dropping into the chat here. Awesome. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to call them out. If you see down below, there's going to be a URL scrolling throughout the show. That's my Amazon shop. Now, in full disclosure, I will tell you which brands sent items out, which ones I brought myself to the show. Lots of brands sponsored the show tonight to help bring their products to you. Now, some of them I'm going to use the heck out of this summer. I'm super excited. And if there's a product that doesn't quite meet muster, I'll tell you about that too, because I'm completely independent. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys. Just checking for any early show shout outs to let the people in from Amazon. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We're on all of them. Should I say Twitter or is it X? So we're on all of the services right now, but I do need to add the Amazon Live. One thing about Amazon Live, when I add it in here, if you guys aren't, check out my Amazon shop. The link's in the description down there. There's a follow button. I didn't notice this, but I've been gaining followers apparently in my sleep. I'm 700 away from their A-list tier. I'm super excited to get in the A-list tier. There's a lot of opportunities that opens up for me, other cool new stuff. So I see, yeah, plenty of you guys are showing up here on a Tuesday night. Let me get this stream going, and then I won't have to talk about that again. So I'm going to go in here and hit this magic button. That'll get everybody on Amazon to see what we're doing. And it's a completely live show, Amazon. They cut me off before, and we didn't like that. So here we go. It says waiting for stream data, and we're going to hit go live in 3, 2, 1, and we're going to be live on all of the services. Thank you guys again for tuning in that have. Let's kick it off talking about Starlink. So Starlink is one of the biggest, most game-changing products that I have used. 3 years ago, I put a video out, and it was talking about how I'm sending back my Starlink. And it was true. It was the Gen 2 dish. It was big and bulky. It was always constantly changing. The rules were changing, what you could do. The price was changing of how much you'd get charged. The availability was changing, so you didn't know if you could or couldn't get it. And I completely missed the vision. Ever since then, this is now my second Starlink, and I've got a third on the other side of that door. Brand new inbox, another Starlink Mini. They have been iterating and iterating and iterating and just making it even easier. The dish doesn't have to move anymore. So this is not like a tracking satellite dish like in the old days. So the Starlink Mini uses a phased array antenna now. So it'll sit out here on your picnic bench, on the roof of your car, wherever you need it to be, and it'll get over 100 megabit download and usually around 20 to 30 megabit upload, high-speed internet just about anywhere in the planet. So huge fan of the Starlink. Now, a couple things that are going to happen when you purchase a Starlink. You're going to get a power cable. Didn't bring it, and you're going to get an AC adapter. So this power cable is going to be about 50 feet long for the Mini. Very long cable, and you're going to get this AC adapter. It looks something like this. And that's going to be about worthless in your vehicle. So if you want to use Starlink to go, you're going to have some issues there, and you're going to need a new product. That's where this first product comes in. I'm super excited. This is from the Star Gear company. They sent 2 products out today. So this is from Star Gear. This is a 16-foot DC power cable for your Starlink. So there's a little Star Gear card in their logo. I want to thank them for sending this out for a fair and honest review and demo. 5-star rating right now on Amazon. Very well constructed, 16.4 feet. So you get a ton of room here. Now, this is a dedicated connector, so it's going to plug into your cigarette lighter port. It's going to go 16 feet, and then it's going to plug into the back of your Starlink Mini. So if the only thing you're purchasing is this cable and you don't need anything else tonight, that's great, because this is going to allow you to use it in your vehicle. One of the things a lot of reviewers loved was the fact that they actually include a cap. So I've got other cables, but they don't include a cap. So if you've got this plugged in, you need to unplug your Starlink, take it down. You don't want this 12-volt jack kicking around the floorboard of your car. You get to cover it up like that, and now it's protected. I can pull that off. I'm going to actually bring up a fairly large item here just so I can do a demonstration. Now, the Starlink will run on your car for about 2 days. But I'm going to run the Starlink today off a little battery bank here. Now, there are certain battery banks, small ones and large ones, that can run the Starlink, not for very long. This is only about 25 watts, but the problem that you're going to run into with this is that it needs to have 100-watt power delivery. So to do that, you have to use one of these extra special USB cables. They cost money. You got to buy that. If you know you're going to use it in a vehicle, or you're going to use it in an RV or a travel trailer or a boat, and you have a 12-volt jack, why not grab the one from Stargear here? And I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to turn this on. Okay, so that is my very large, this is a 1400 watt hour power bank. That would run it for, I think, about 3 days. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on this DC jack. So this fits into that DC jack on the back of your Starlink. Let me show you how easy this is to plug in. So Starlink Mini has made this even easier because they integrated the router and the Ethernet port and the power all in one. Now, I can run this without unplugging it. You just run it down here, and you make sure it's pushed all the way in, and it gets a good connection in there because that's your waterproofing. So if this is outside in the rain or snow, it's going to be just fine. That faces downward, and now I plug this into the outlet. So now you can see, if we look over here on the side, I'm going to see if I can show you that. It's already drawing power. It's drawing 35 watts. So this is automatically now powering my Starlink. I have 16 feet of cable here that I can use, so I can have this go out of the vehicle or wherever. I can put it onto the top of the vehicle, and you'll see it's properly powering the Starlink. There's a little blinky light there that lets you know that it's got power. So that is our very first product. That is from Stargear. I'm going to bring us over to Amazon just so I can show you, when you go to that URL that's down below, what you're going to see. If you hit that page, you're going to see something that looks like this. This is my Amazon store. Thank you guys so much for coming to my Amazon shop. If you click on the show 513 here, this is going to show you all the products that we're looking at today. And it's also going to show you that Stargear Starlink cable. Now, like I said, 5-star reviews across the board on this. And not a lot of products when it comes to Starlink get very good reviews, especially accessories. So I was really excited to see that. This is where you can use the plug-and-play capability it's mentioning here. It goes into a cigarette lighter adapter, car, SUV, truck, or boat. That's another great option for it. And it is weatherproof with a very nice cable. And it's very soft, very flexible, almost like a silicone for the cable. That's something that a lot of people mention in the reviews, and I like that. Brittle cables don't bend real well. They don't go through window openings or other gaps that you might need them to. So that's the very first product. I do like the quality of this one. I'm going to take and unplug this. I'm going to put it back here off to the side. And we're going to look at another companion product that you might want to think about from Stargear as well. And I'm excited about this product. I'm just packing this thing back up for safekeeping. And this is going to go out to the boat because this is going to power the Starlink on my boat. I'll follow up with you guys and let you know how that works. And I'm going to run back over here. BC checking in on the YouTube side says, as soon as van life, that would be a great for use. As a soon-to-be van lifer, oh man, I didn't know that. That's awesome, BC. I've got so much gear for you. We might need to talk. I've got the lithium stuff from Victron. I've got DC to DC charging. That'd be really cool. So from Stargear, that was the very first product. I'm going to jump into the next product from Stargear, which is also another cool product. Give me 1 second. I got to go over here and just double check the Amazonians and say, hello, Amazonians. And I'm going to pick the next product up here when I get it going. And this is a Starlink Mini rail mount. So you can use it for the Starlink Mini. I also looked last night and they have it for the full size, just in case I change my plans. I'm going to move this off to the side. So one of the drawbacks here is you can't mount this really anywhere. The default connector here that it comes with, I'll show you how easy this thing is to accidentally fall off. So you got this, you're going down the road and oh, there goes your Starlink. It flies off and hits somebody. So not good if you're looking at a boat. You might be able to drill some holes, but the problem is this retention is really easy. Now, it hasn't been a problem yet, but maybe you've got some nefarious people that think they can sell this for parts because it's not a very cheap unit. If you take and just pull, you can take this off, strip the cables out, and somebody walks away with your internet. So the next product is for boaters or people that have railings. And I actually have a mod that might actually be kind of cool for this one. This is also from Star Gear right now. And this is their rail mount. It's going to work for 7/8, 1 inch, and 1.25 inch tubular rails. So you want to put this on your BMX bike, just find out how big the rail size is. But the funny thing is, if you're a boater, don't wait, because you're going to have either a 7/8, a 1 inch, or an 1.5 inch rail anywhere on your boat. So I want to show you guys real quick when I'm taking this out that I actually use the products I talk about. So this is my boat. And you'll see conspicuously in this picture over here, my Starlink was on a pole mount. So I have rails all over my boat that I want to mount the Starlink to. This was the bigger dish. I want to use the smaller mini dish, and I want to mount it to a rail. And I can do that with this device. Let me show you guys how that works. It's really slick. So not only does it protect the Starlink from falling off and mount it securely to a rail, it's an anti-theft device too. Let me show you this in the quick unbox we're going to do. So you're going to get the Starlink Solutions card. You're going to get a special long tool. This is going to come in handy in just a sec. Very well packaged. Everything is very well labeled. Now, there's a 1 inch insert you'll see right here. There's a 7/8 inch insert you'll see right here. There's an extra Allen here, which we'll talk about in just a second. And then there's this very high quality unit. Now I'm going to bring you guys up close on this one because I want you to see the craftsmanship on this. This thing is all cast. It feels like aluminum and very sharp on the edges where it connects, which is what you want. You want this thing to be milled at very good tolerances. You can see me through the little hole there. So this is going to be the 1.5 inch size. Oh, sorry, 1.25 inch size. And now we're going to use the Allens to take this apart. And I'll show you where those inserts come in. And I just happened to have borrowed a piece of my boat and I brought it in here to the studio. I will definitely take you guys out to the boat here and we'll show you how this works on the boat in the future. But to do the unbox tonight to show, I wanted to see that. And we got to check in. We got Blind Tech checking in, another great YouTuber. If you haven't checked him out, check his channel out. He's been doing some cool PC flips. Good to see you. And did I see that you had a birthday, Blind Tech? I thought I saw that the other day. Happy birthday, man, if that's the case. Or if you want to share if it's the case. You don't have to. So here we go. I'm going to unscrew this. And what we're doing is we're taking this rail mount out. Now, would I like to put a tiny little bit of Loctite on these because everything on a boat tends to undo? I do like the aluminum feel of this. This feels very light, but also very well milled. So I'm guessing it's aluminum, which is great for saltwater where I have my boat. So I'm going to go ahead and undo the rest of these. And this is where your inserts are going to come in. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to mount this. So I'm going to take this off first. While I have it off of the mount, I'm going to show you real quick how you put this together. So you take your original non-anti-theft Starlink mount out. You take your brand new mount in here. You see those 2 screws that are sticking out? That's the important part. You run your cables, you do whatever you need, and then you run this over and you push down. Do a really good push. Make sure it's seated well. And then you see this tool? You literally just take this tool and you tighten these all the way down. Again, I might put a tiny little bit of Loctite on those because once I install this and I start bouncing around on the waves, I don't want this going anywhere. But the cool thing about this is once you've got that in, there is no way for a thief to take this off. And I'll show you one other trick that I'm thinking we can do after this is all done. Because I noticed something about 2 different models that they have, and I think these are related models, but I'm going to show you this. So make sure you have it all the way pushed down because these are the locks that are going to keep your Starlink from falling off. Now I'm going to take you guys to the front here. We're going to see if it falls. So I can shake, rattle, roll. I can even try to hit the release on this. I can push that release and it will not come out because those are your anti-theft pins. So this is going to hold and mount to a rail and give you that satellite internet that you want, and nobody's going to be able to take it away from you. Now let's take and grab the rail because I'm going to install this onto a pole so you guys can see what it would be like. It could attach to any sort of horizontal rail. I just happen to have from our Bimini top. I split it the other day to do a project. So I have a 7/8 inch Bimini top rail here. So if you want to put this on the top of your Bimini, you could actually make a very small indentation or hole. Look at that, man, milled very well. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to bring you guys right in here. So these are these rubber pieces that make up the difference between 1.25 inches, which is what this is, and your Starlink. So now I'm going to install this. I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat. I'm going to put this down this way. I'm going to install this upside down, basically. I'm going to bring you guys on the top down so you can see how I'm doing this. So I'm going to align those indentations. I really like the construction of this. You know, for boat stuff, you want quality. That's what I've noticed, you know, whether it's your crimps or your connectors or whatever. If you buy the cheap stuff, they only last a year and you end up replacing them. This looks to be very high quality. I'm going to go ahead and make sure it locks into both sides of the rail mount here. I just want to make sure. There's some little indentations, so we got those in. That's not moving anywhere. I'm going to bring it over here. I like that fit. Okay, it's so rubberized that it's not even wanting to spin on the rail, which was another thing I was worried about with these round, slick stainless steel rails. So I'm going to go ahead and put the screws back in. Whoop. So hopefully this is all stainless hardware as well. We'll check the Amazon listing here in just a second together. Now, a couple things that would have been nice on this. Like I said, a little bit of Loctite. I could see that helping. Maybe. And maybe a little bit better Allen wrench. You know, I do think once you get this in there, it might be a little hard to use, but you know, it is what it is. You don't want to over tighten these. So I could see them not wanting to give you something too strong. But these little tiny ones, when you're trying to put a lot of torque on some of these connectors. Okay, I'm loving this. So if we come way out, you're going to see that this is already holding the pole off of the desk. I'm going to go ahead and clamp these down. There we go. And then I'm going to hold this up and you guys can see the new vertical Starlink mount. So you put that on the top of your boat and that is your Starlink out on the lake, the waves, wherever you're heading, you're going to have the Starlink mounted. Now this could be a rail mount. Now I tightened this down pretty good, but let's assume that this uses one of my bow rails, which are also 7/8. If I have a large one, I'm trying to think if I have any large ones. The nice thing is the kit comes with every size of a rail mount that I might possibly need. So you don't have to go measure. If you've got a boat and you've got a need for a Starlink mini mount, you've got the one right here from Star Gear. So assume this was the bow rail. I just wanted to put this along the side of the bow rail facing up. Because of that phased array antenna, it's not going to have to be oriented like the last one. It can point straight up or just a little bit tilted to get the water runoff. And there you go. So that was from Star Gear. That is their anti-theft mount. Now, somebody could come over here and yank on this all day long, and they're not going to get this thing out because of those two retention screws that I was telling you about earlier. So these two screws, but when I need to come in here and get my Starlink back out, I can come down here and simply just undo these two screws. You have to come out quite a ways with them. I was testing this last night. You have to come out quite a ways with them. And I'm going to show you how you can remove it also. So take this back off. There's one other cool feature that I'm going to tell you about, and it may be an alternate installation method. Now, Star Gear makes a ton of cool stuff. Check out their shop because they've got way more than this. I'll talk to them and see if they want to do some more on the show because I think they're a really slick company already. But let's say you wanted to flat mount this. This unit looks to me almost identical to their flat mount kit. It even includes this rubber gasket. Don't quote me on this, but I bet you if you took these bolts out and replaced them with your own standard mount hardware, you could adapt this thing to flat mount a Starlink to the roof of a car. And so that's a great kind of a two-in-one. You get not only a rail mount, but they also do sell one of these units that's specifically designed for flat mounting. Now I'm going to put this out of the way, but I'm going to show you the difference here between this and even what Starlink now sells as their mobile mount. And you're going to see the quality difference on this product. So I did purchase in my second Starlink Mini, fourth technically total Starlink that I've owned. I purchased the Starlink mobile mounting kit from Starlink themselves. That's it right here. I'm going to show you why that other kit I think might actually be better. So if we look on this, you're looking top down. That other kit has 3 points of contact. This one only has 2 side to side. So if you get in kind of a windy situation, this one has a very large like twisting area. So you'd put one bolt in and then this is open. So maybe it could twist. I don't know. This has got kind of almost a rough finish, but you notice one thing it doesn't have. They want you, remember, to mount this to the top of your car. I'm trying to see if I can even get this to mount right. There we go. So they want this on the top of your car. Follow me. So you're going along, and all of a sudden it flies off because there's zero retention in the Starlink mobile mount. What did they want you to do? They want you to put this on here. They're assuming that that little 2 pieces of plastic and this little tiny lid thing, that nobody's going to come by and loosen it up on you. You're not going to have something bump that. This literally comes right off. And so that's a danger here. That's not anti-theft. So that's their commercially sold mobile mount. And it's that easy to defeat from Starlink. So this is definitely not anti-theft. I don't even think it's honestly that secure. So I was thinking about this for my boat. I actually think I'm going to modify the other one and just take the rail mount off when I don't need it and use it as a standard mobile mount. So very cool. That was from Star Gear. And it was your birthday. Right on. Blind Tech says 21st birthday happened last Friday. I knew I saw something cool about that. Belated congratulations on your birthday, my friend. I'm going to go back one page here. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is John the Net Guy. We're taking a look at all sorts of really slick Starlink gear. The first 2 products tonight were from the Star Gear company. Definitely an up-and-coming name. I showed you the first one. Now this mount, the second mount, is $64. I've shown you other mounts, suction cup mounts, different things. If you look at the quality that's put into this, the engineering, the thought, the fact that it is anti-theft, this is the anti-theft system. The fact that they actually have thought about theft and even just the danger of it falling off. What's your liability if this thing comes flying off of your RV or car? That's where they're thinking ahead on this one. I think that is a great investment. And like I said, they make a ton of stuff. So this is one of the products. But if you go over and visit the Star Gear store, they've got USB cables, they've got DC cables, they've got XT cables. You can go through here and you can just pick what kind of Starlink you have. So if you have a Gen 3, let's say, and you want to see all of the Gen 3 full-size accessories, take a look at their store. Again, full transparency, they did send this out for a fair and honest review, so this is considered an ad. I am getting something from them, these mounts, which I didn't have to pay for, which is cool. Looks like they've got a nice case and some other stuff. So I'll be in communication with these guys some more because I think they got some great stuff. I would love to have some sort of travel case for the Mini. Let's talk about that. And actually, while we're talking about it, let me get my phone out here because I need to tag the very next product, which is another Starlink. And this is from a company called ZeroFi. Give me 1 second to pull this up. Okay, ZeroFi sent this one out for a fair and honest review. I'm kind of kicking myself because I wish I would have got the white, but it comes in both white or black. Black looks really nice, and I think it will work in certain situations. This is a silicone mount cover for your Starlink. So the very first thing I did with my other Starlink, I had the very large one. I put it in the front of the boat with all of our other camping gear. When I got it out, I had a huge scratch on the front. So it was kind of sad. I had this brand new Starlink and it's just plastic, but it did have a nice big gouge in the front. It was very obvious that it was damaged. Now this one, I was setting it up. I had a box outside. I had all the stuff in for the show outside the door. I knocked the box over. This thing came flying off and landed on its face and slid across. And I'm going, not again. I can't have another Starlink with damage. The way that this works, so this has silicone construction. It has a honeycomb weave pattern on the inside to give yourself some impact resistance. It's very simple to install. I'm just looking to see that I've got the notches. So the notches on here are for the bottom side of your Starlink where all the wires go in. Very easy to put together. You just take the Starlink, you slide one end in, you slide around the other one, and it's kind of like a big cell phone case. If you think of it like that, it's like a TPU case. So there you go. This is the coolest looking Starlink Mini now. Maybe nobody even knows what it is if it's sitting there flat on your roof. So you've got this little, cover on it. This is going to keep the sun from bleaching that plastic. So it's going to give it sun protection from the elements. It's going to insulate the front of it because of that honeycomb. It's going to give it some damage protection. So this is from ZeroFi. So it's going to do all of that. And it doesn't cost that much. In fact, right now, I think this one is $39. So if you think of the cost of the Starlink Mini, they're coming down, but I can tell you, I paid about $600 for mine when they just came out. But the original Starlink Mini price, if you damage it, something falls into it, hurts it, they're not going to cover accidental damage. You're going to be buying a new one. So this is very cheap protection. It's also going to keep the elements off of it. Now, Starlink does have a heater and all this other stuff, so it will still work with that. But this is going to keep the elements out of your Starlink and kind of give it that attractive look. I kind of like the black now. So let me know what you think about that. I'm going to head over to Amazon just because I can show you a little bit better on their photos. They have two versions of this, like I said. Actually, it's now $29. That's great. The black one is more expensive, so it's $39 if you want the black. They're essentially identical. They're both a protective silicone shell for your Starlink there. What a great idea. I wish I had this. Now, I would leave this on all the time just because, when I throw this in, I really don't care what the bottom of the Starlink. Actually, I need to get my other camera. I didn't even think about this. I didn't have my tracking camera tracking. There we go. Now it is. But yeah, so, I wouldn't run this without some sort of protection now, whether it's a box or a case that you put this in. But if you throw this in your car, you don't want it to get scratched up, get one of these sleeves. Very easy for $29 for the white, $39 for the black version. So very cool. Okie dokie, we have a couple other products to go through tonight. Not a huge show, but we kicked off with the Starlink products. I'm going to put this out of our way, and we're going to get into the next group of products. I'm going to try to find the best way to test this. So the very next product we're taking a look at is one of the smallest products on the show today. It's a USB flash drive. Now, these guys reached out to me after seeing my tests of the micro SD cards and the NVMEs. I've been doing some performance benchmarking recently, and they said, hey, take a look at our flash drive. It is 512 gigabytes of storage here. So not a slouch when it comes to storage. You get plenty of that. It does have a fairly large coupon on it right now. So we'll go take a look at the Amazon in just a second. I'm going to liberate it. This is the very first time opening it. Now, its ratings are over 100 megabytes per second read and write. I believe that's what I was looking at. On here, it didn't have the same ratings. I'll have to go see what it is on their website. But very simple to use flash drive. These come in so much handy. If you want to take like videos with you to a relatives, this is the summer. This is where everybody's traveling. Very convenient plastic in and out. So you can put that end out, and if you want it not to get damaged, throw it in your pocket, you slide that back, slide it in your pocket. Very, very, very lightweight. That's one thing I'll notice about it is super light. I'll show you here on the overhead camera. So tiny little thing. Couple things I would have liked to see. Let me see if I have my other flash drives in here. Yes, I do. So some of these other flash drive brands will offer a lanyard. This one did not come with a lanyard directly. So I would have liked that. That would have been nice. Even a key ring at most, they could have thrown a key ring or something in here in the packaging. But if you have one of those, you can definitely do that. You're going to need something to fish that lanyard or some sort of loop here through. So it's not directly connectable to a keychain. But overall, not too bad. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see if I have crystal disc mark. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Let's do that. Let's do crystal disc mark. Give me 1 second here. You know what? I'll pull it off of. Do I have my other? Oh, I don't have my utility. No, it's right over there. I'm gonna go grab it. I didn't have my MacBook set up for the benchmark today, so I'm gonna cheat. We're gonna use this utility USB that I have, and I'll just do the test live on here. Why not, huh? Was that? Oh gosh, what was it? The guy on Fox is like, we're gonna do it live. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do it live. So we're gonna do this one live. We'll do a speed test on it. Let me know what kind of things you would test and what kind of questions you would have for a new USB key. If you were gonna test it out, I would be interested myself in the total bytes written. That's something that you don't usually see spec'd out a lot. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to go ahead and plug this in for the very first time. I'm plugging it right into the show laptop. This is a USB 3 port. I'm going to open it to view files. I'm going to show this to you guys in just 1 second. So it is my E drive. So I'm going to share an application with you guys. 1 second to get back to the right screen. I'm going to share an app. Screen share, window, Crystal Disk Mark, version 8. So you guys can see me over here on the side. I'm going to put myself a little bit further to the side if I can and try to get you guys a full screen image. There we go. So that is my C drive. That's not the one we want. We're going to test the DEH drive, is it? Let me see here. I have 2 of these. Oh, no, that's Google Drive. So it is actually the E drive, which is not coming up on this. Let me do one other eject and reinsert. Okay, so now it's popped up. This list refreshed, but I didn't see it change. So let me close out of that. And then we're going to go Crystal Disk Mark one more time. Thanks for your patience. We're doing this all online here. And there it goes. Okay, so it did find the proper drive. Let me reshare for you guys. Share screen, window, this, share. Okay, and I'll put myself off to the side, and you guys get to see live here the test. Now, this is going to go through 4 different technically kinds of tests. So it's going to do a sequential write test. It's going to do a random 4K write. Looks like it's do another random 4K IOPS measurement. And then it's going to do another style. I'm going to actually change this profile. I'm going to go back to default. I actually like it when it just does the sequential large, sequential smaller, and then down. This gives us a full test of the drive. It's going to use a 1 gig file. We're going to hit start. We're going to see what the read performance is first. So it's doing a live read test. That's me in the corner down here. It's going through several passes of this. We're going to see how much it gets done. Sequential read, preparing, it says. So it's creating that 1 gig file. So 512 gigs available. That is a ton of storage space on here. Read speed, 150 megabytes per second right out of the gate. Not so bad. Really decent for, again, a flash drive. I have a Corsair Survivor USB 3. It's a little dated, but I believe it's also a decent size one. We can test that afterward if we want and compare these. But 150 megabytes, 151 megabyte read speed, not so bad. And my USB bus is doing some other stuff right now, but there's plenty of bandwidth on it. Should be just fine. Now it's going to go into the next type, and that is going to be a smaller version of the sequential. So it's doing a smaller chunk. So 146 on the second test. Not bad, 147. So it's going to do that. I'm going to answer some questions while it's doing its test since you guys are around here. And you're asking, BC, is the Starlink still usable with it on? Absolutely. Great question about that silicone case cover. I didn't even think about that. Starlink works through fiberglass even. I didn't know this, but I was looking at my my canopy on my truck. I was like, man, I really don't want to drill holes in that. I don't want to have to, mount it on top of that. Can I get away with mounting it on the inside? I started reading about it, and Starlink will go through glass and fiberglass. It doesn't like metal. I know that. I don't know about drywall, but yeah, you can go straight up through that. Now, we're dropping quite a bit here when it comes to the random read-write performance. So we're down at 7 megs per second. So if you've got tons of small files scattered around the drive, that's not going to be as good. large media files, this is where I think that this would be really, really good if you were copying videos. It's half a terabyte in your pocket. So 512 gigs. If you think of how much that used to cost on an iPhone, you go in, or even a Mac Mini, the Mac Mini behind me, 256 was $499, I think. And then if you went up just another 256, it was another $200, like another half more expensive. Now we're going to kick over to the write speeds. We're almost there. We got one more random read. So it's dropping pretty precipitously when we get into the randoms. But in this case, as a USB backup drive, you're usually writing sequential. You don't have a lot of random access on these. So you're writing your media file. So it's going to get you about 150 megs per second read, which isn't bad. Again, I could see this in our minivan. It has those TV screens. I can bring 512 gigs of video with me with the kids, and we can go out and watch it here in the van off of my Plex server. So I could copy that. I could see this. It's doing its sequential write. It's gone through 4 out of 5 of those. Max so far is 67.95. So not bad. Pretty decent. I'm going to bring you over while this is still running. We'll come back to it. But I'm going to bring you over to the Amazon page for this one. And we'll take a quick look at this company, see if we got any reviews. Okay, so 1,426 ratings. Can't go bad on that. I was worried that it might have a few less here. So 4.4 stars on that. It comes with a 20% coupon right now. Now, 512 is a very big card. It's a very large amount of storage. But if you want to go to the 256, that one is only $20. So if you need 256, if you want to go down even as low as 64, I've used these 64s just for utilities, for boot drives, for Linux, if you're using that. Something where you don't need a ton of direct storage, but if you do need a ton of them, you've got the 512 here. I want to see what their rated speeds were down here. So they were saying rated speeds of 90 megs read and 130 write. Now, I think that might have got transposed when they were doing their calculations, because usually your reading speed is much easier than writing because it's flipping bits. So even when we give them the benefit of the doubt, they came in really close. They came in with about 25 plus or minus on both of those operations. So really decent. I'll bring those results back up. They're a little bit harder to see in the smaller screen there, but 67 megs write and 150 on the read. So not bad. Again, appreciate that company for sending this one out for a fair and honest review. Looks like it performed pretty well here on this test. I will continue to use this and I will report back and let you know, what are you using for a USB drive right now? Are you still using thumb drives? And if so, which one? I'd be interested to see that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my benchmark. It's like, where did my drive go? It just got unplugged. So there we go. BC says mobile Plex. There we go. Yeah, this would be great. You need a ton of storage with a really good read speed. We'll do that. I'm going to go ahead and pick the next product up here. I got to get better at picking the Amazon products here on the show. Now, this one I was very interested about after a recent trip. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on a trip, and I usually bring those gallium nitrate, the GaN chargers. It's a brick about yay big. They're huge still, but they have a ton of ports and a ton of power. Sometimes you need something that's just super duper portable. That's where this comes in. Not only is it portable, it's affordable, and it's a 2-pack. So as we're transitioning here from USB-A, and we're getting rid of all of our USB-A cords, and we're going to USB Type-C, this is a power delivery Type-C. So it has multiple voltage standards here. You get a 2-pack of them, and I'll just read them off real fast. So if you use the USB C1 port, which is the top, and the C2 port, they look like they have identical numbers. They're going to be able to do 5 volts at 3 amps, 9 volts at 2.22 amps, and 12 volts at 1.67 amps. So that's 20 watts per port. Now they max out at 40 watts total. So you can mix and match these however you need, and you're going to get 40 watts. Now the bottom 2 USB ports are going to do 5 volts at 3.1 max, which is, I believe, the highest standard that you can get for that. Let me see if I can bring you guys really close in here. So there you go. So you can see those ports. You can see those values here, hopefully, on the wall, on the side there. I'm going to go ahead and show you how many different devices you can plug in, because, again, I just went on a trip, and I had to bring all my little accessories. The kids wanted all their tablets plugged in. So we've got tablet 1, tablet 2, I bring extra camera stuff, lights, cell phone, and I was just recording not too long ago. All of these use USB Type-C. Now, the neat thing about this is you can use a couple of them for the high power ports. So you plug one in here, and I plug it into my DJI here, the Pocket 3. That one can take some of the high power. I can grab another one. This is one of my older charging cables, and this is a Type A to Type C. So maybe I put that one down in here, and I can mix and match these, and I can go ahead and plug my cell phone in. There we go. And I'm going to go plug this one in over here on the bench. We'll get it fired up. We'll look for the charging logos. 91%, this one's charging. And double check on this one. If I've got that one plugged in right. There it is. And it's actually got, this is kind of cool. It's on the fast charging mode. I wanted to show you that. So power delivery gives you higher voltage charging than is normal. So this one is already kicking over into fast charge on my Pocket. So you get 2 of these. So you have up to 8 USB ports to charge out of 2 bricks that honestly together are about the size of a GAN charger. Now you're only going to have 80 watts max total between the 2 of them, but 40 each. But you kick one of these to the kids to charge their devices. You keep one for the parents, and you're good to go on a vacation if you need a ton of charging ability. Let me know what you guys are using for chargers. Would this be something interesting to you? So 40 watts max across all the ports combined total. But it gives you 2 USB-Cs and 2 USB-As and a pair of them as well. So you got 8 total ports. Let me know what you think about that. I'm interested to use this in the future. I know I can use this on my boat because I'm always running out of USB ports out there. So I've got an inverter on the boat. I can run that, and that would be a very nice thing to have. I'm going to put some of these out of our way, and then we're going to grab the last product. Believe it or not, that's been a quick show tonight, but we zipped through them. Second to last product was actually a lift for your RV or travel trailer. It's a double axle lift. And the neat thing about it is when you get a flat tire on a travel trailer, it's an absolute pain because when you lift one wheel, the suspension is designed to automatically take up the slack of the other wheel. So when you have a flat and you need to jack up a tire, when you start to jack it up to do the work, the other tire compensates and you can never quite get them off the ground. It's really weird. So this other one was a tire lift, but it didn't work the way I wanted. So I'm going to save that probably for next week or week after. So there we go. BC is saying, I still use flash drives, but generic ones from work. Hey, anytime you can steal flash drives from your office, that's a great idea. I didn't say steal, I meant borrow flash drives. The next product I'm going to show you here, actually let me tag first on Amazon and then pick the product because I'm getting out of order here. Thank you guys on Amazon for the clicks, and thank you guys for the follows on Amazon. I really do appreciate that. Like I said, I'm 700 away from A-list. That's been a 3-year project of mine. 700 follows away from A-list. If you go down into that corner and you hit that follow button, you're going to help me out, and you're going to get to know every time I go live on Amazon. So very slick. We can help each other out. So the next product that I have is from Coprimit. And they said, I want to send you a dirty water hose. I said, dirty water hose? I don't need a dirty water hose. I said, oh, you mean a utility water hose? I said, I need one of those. This I just got finished using, and it literally says dirty water. It's not a dirty hose. It's not any of that. It's actually a utility hose for your black tank washed out. So if you've got a really cool wash down for your black tank, if you want to do that, you don't have to use your freshwater drinking hose. Now, what's neat about this, comes with a nice bag. The bag is huge. So that's the size of the hose. The bag is this tall. So I would say put all of your accessories, your different water items in here. Comes with a super slick carrier. So you can hook this up. Maybe you've got a storage spot up under the RV or wherever you put stuff. It has a Velcro closure on here. So I just took that off here. So this Velcro closure, it's going to have ends that on both sides are armored here. So this is where it's going to connect in. Now, I'll be honest, this was a little tight. I used this and I could get it to screw on, and it made a really good seal. It comes with really nice silicone ends here, but it was tough the first time I put this on. So that said, this is a rubber hose. I would not use this for drinking water. So you want to worry about rubber leaching or anything. But rubber is perfect for utility hoses. Why? it's a 5/8 hose. So you're not going to deal with the dinky 1/2 inch. I've got another hose reel I'm going to show you that is 1/2 inch, and it's great for that purpose. But when you need high volume, you need a thicker hose. You need 5/8, 3/4. So this is a 5/8 hose. The rubber is not super thick. I'll be honest with you. It is made out of rubber, but it's very pliable. Some of the other like Craftsman hoses I've had have not been really pliable. You can run over this with the car. My wife tried to run over the other 1/2 inch hose, and I'm like, no, 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 no. So this one can be run over with your car. You can scrape it along things. The rubber is very durable. That's one of the advantage here. Nice aluminum milled fittings on both ends here. So there's a little bit of water coming out because I was using this earlier, and my editor, he's a mensch. He's awesome. He's going to edit in my usage of this hose earlier. But again, if you're washing your RV down, if you want just a standard utility hose, if you want something to keep around the campsite that can get beat up, can get run over by the quads, the whatever, great little hose. Now it's saying on the side of it, you'll see what it says. If you look at there, it says clean out RV hose black tank flush. So it's labeled for dirty water. So you can absolutely use it as that. But if you want to use it for other purposes, washing down the RV, doing whatever, what they're just saying is that this would be your non-potable water hose in your RV. So you don't have to mix and match. I can't tell you how many years I had to unplug the water and start using my water hose, my clean white water hose, to wash the RV, to wash the bikes, cars, whatever we had in there. So it's nice to have a utility. Now you can zip it closed like that real quick with the closure. And it also has a carry handle on the bag. So I want to thank those guys for sending this out. This comes in 3 different sizes, 25 feet, 35 feet, and 50 feet. We're going to take a quick look at the Amazon show page just to show you what that looks like. And if there's anything that I missed, if you guys are just tuning in, these are the products that we went through today on Amazon. So this is from Copermit. This is their dirty water hose. And so they're saying here, oh, I forgot to even say no kink design. How many times have you been trying to roll your hose up and you get a big old kink in it and then it splits? It's also going to work really well in cold weather. That's another big advantage of rubber. So let's say UV resistant, anti-age, and anti-brittleness on the outer layer, cross-woven fiber mesh middle layer, and pressure and corrosion resistant inner layer. So that's great. They're showing you that kink protection that it has. It's not going to create a crease or a line like a normal hose would. And then it says no smell, and I'll give them that. It doesn't smell like a traditional rubber hose. Temperature is good for 158 degrees down to -22. So this rubber is very pliable, so it's not going to stretch and crack. That's really cool to see. And it is 3/4 inch garden hose thread ends. The other thing that I forgot to mention, thank goodness they had this on the site, is burst pressure. So a normal hose doesn't have a burst rating this high. Usually on these rubber hoses, you'll see 300 plus PSI. This one's 450 PSI burst rating. So very cool. And stain resistant colors help stop mix-ups. So very cool. So you can use this all over, whether you have a Porta Santa tank there like you need and you want to flush it out and you don't want to use your potable water hose, and you can use it for cleaning gear and everything else. So that is how that works. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything, and doesn't look like I have. I want to thank everybody that sent in products tonight. A lot of these product companies communicate with me, say, hey, can you give us a shout out here on your show? Can you show everybody that's watching the Net Guy what we make? And so I want to thank them, because without them, this show wouldn't exist. I'm going to go through the list real quick. We're going to talk about a couple really cool products first that we showed from Star Gear. So if you're into the Starlink Mini, the Star Gear 16.4 foot DC cable. You need to have a DC cable. This one seems to be one of the best I've seen so far, and it is one of the highest rated, so we like that. We then switched gears and we went into the Star Gear number 2. This is their anti-theft rail mount. Now, I think you could also use this as a mobile mount, and it's better than the mobile mount that comes from Starlink themselves. It's anti-theft, which means not only is it not going to fall off if it gets bumped or something happens, but nobody will be able to take it off because you have a special screwdriver that you can use to take it on off. So I want to thank them for sending that out. That's going straight out to the boat, hopefully tomorrow if I head up there. We talked about a couple other products. I'm going to grab the one over here because it's still sitting on my Starlink, and it's going to be there for a while. It's this black neoprene sleeve. Actually, I don't know, it's silicone, not neoprene. So it's black silicone sleeve. And what that does, it protects your Starlink from the elements, it protects it from impacts, does all sorts of cool stuff from it, and just keeps it looking beautiful, which we like if we like Starlinks. We switched over and we went off onto the USB world, the USB tangent, and we checked out this premium USB flash drive, 512 gigs of storage, 150 megabytes per second read, 67 write, and it kind of stumbled once you got into the random section, which they kind of all do. They're not super high speed here. I'll try this out on my MacBook and see if the controller is a little bit more friendly when it hits a Mac or other ones, but it'll work on Mac, PC, or your vehicle, tablet, anything that has a USB-A interface. And lastly, we checked out the universal charging, power delivery charging 4-port 2-pack. Now this one, you're getting, what, 8 charging ports, 80 watts total, 40 watts by 2, and it's $24. I can't tell you how many times I bought a charger when I got a new phone or whatever, and I had to buy it at the store, and it was at least that for these. Now you're getting these combinations, power delivery certified chargers for less. And then we ended the show today on this dirty water bag here that has this 35-foot rubber hose, and they have a 25, a 35, and a 50-foot. So I'm excited about using that this summer. We've got a couple really cool camping trips planned, and I will record those and report back how it does. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you don't mind, give me a follow down there if you're on Amazon. Hit a subscribe if you're on anyone else. And let me know what you think about the show. Let me know if I could do something better or improve it for you. But I will catch you guys all